Today we're going to talk really quickly about PEMDAS. We all know, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, add, and subtract. So it's just a quick refresher. Parentheses would look like these. You can also have brackets. They're the same thing as parentheses. You could have braces. Those are also the same thing as parentheses. Or these little bars, which you may or may not have remembered from last year. And they're not ones. That's not an 11. Those are absolute value bars. For exponents, make sure if you have an exponent such as 2 to the 5th that you identify an exponent and you evaluate this before you do anything. So you have to convert 2 to the 5th into an actual number. Multiplication, we all know what that looks like. And division, of course, adding and subtracting. The other thing I'd like you to do is to draw these arrows, which indicates that sometimes you can divide before you multiply and you can subtract before you add. It's whatever comes in order as you read the problem from left to right. So for example, we have 12 divided by parentheses 2 times 2, parentheses minus 10. So what we want to do is multiply 2 times 2 first. So what I do is I like to circle or highlight whatever I'm going to do. And then everything else I just bring along for the ride. So I'm actually doing 2 times 2, but I'm bringing everything else down. Now the reason that I don't copy these parentheses is I don't need them anymore. I have something separating 12 from 4. So you can put the parentheses in, you don't have to, but they serve no more purpose. We've taken care of what they serve. So our next step obviously is going to be division. So I would circle that step, and that's going to be 3. Minus 10, which is negative 7. Next problem, I see subtraction, multiplication, addition, division. So in this case, we're going to do multiplication first. And that's going to be 12. And everything else is going to come along for the ride. So division is going to be my next step. 30 minus 12 plus 5. And this is where you gotta be careful. If you read this problem like you read a book, the first sign you come across is subtraction. So in this case, you're gonna do that first. You have 18 plus 5, and you're gonna get 23. So we look down here a little bit more difficult problems. They're not too bad. And again, obviously, we know to handle parentheses first. So everything's gonna come along for the ride. And instead of 3 plus 5, now notice the parentheses had to stay in the problem this time because that's the only thing separating 8 from 2 to the 3rd. So those still serve a purpose, so I need to have them in there. So your next step is going to be to handle exponents. So we are going to evaluate 2 to the 3rd, and that's going to be 8. And I just bring down my other 8. Now you gotta be careful here. I know you see parentheses, but there's nothing to do inside them. So right now, this is multiplication, and this is division. The first sign I come across is division. So that's what I need to do. And that's your answer, 48. When you look at number 2, you see braces and parentheses, so we're going to do the innermost parentheses first. We're going to simplify that. Everything else, again, is coming along for the ride. So 6 minus 2 is 4. Now notice I dropped my parentheses because I don't need them. I have a division symbol that takes care of it. So you can have them, you don't have to. I'm still going to work within a grouping symbol. We're going to focus on 12 divided by 4. And this is where you got to be careful. You have 2 operations. You have multiplication or an exponential expression. You need to take care of the exponent first. So that's going to be 9. I still keep my braces in here because I need something to separate that 9 from that 4. And I'm going to do 4 times 9. I'm going to get 36. 3 is actually easier, so we're going to convert 6 squared first. All right, then we have subtract, multiply, add. Multiplication is going to come before those. 5 times 36 is 180. All right, read the problem left to right. Oh, come across subtraction, so I'm going to do that first. I'm going to get negative 173. So now what we're going to do, we're going to do some PEMDAS problems, but this time you're going to do some substitution for me. So please make a note to use parentheses around substituted values. That's really important. A lot of kids don't do that and it ends up messing them up. So I would just do it 100% of the time and then you'll be correct. All right, so instead of A, we're going to substitute 12. And instead of B, we're going to substitute 9. And instead of C, we're going to substitute negative 4. So we're going to try to do this without a calculator. I would go ahead and simplify your exponents because obviously those need handled first. So 12 squared is going to be 144. I'm going to drop my parentheses around 9 because I have a plus sign, so I don't really need those parentheses. They're not doing anything. I'm going to keep this minus. And when I simplified negative 4 squared, I'm going to get a positive 16. So you gotta be really careful about that. And then I'm just gonna keep on working. So 144 plus 9, I'm gonna get 153. And we're gonna do 153 minus 16. I believe you get 137. Double check here. Yep. So that's gonna be your final answer. All right, let's try number 5. So we have 2. I'm going to draw parentheses a little bit bigger because I'm going to have extra sets of them and I don't want to get confused. So 12 goes in for A, 9 goes in for B, keep my squared over 5 parentheses negative 4. So when we do this problem, let's just focus on the top first and then we'll do the bottom. So I definitely want to do 12 minus 9 because that's within these parentheses. So the 12 minus 9 is 3 squared. Again, you don't really need these parentheses to copy down because they're not serving any other purpose. And it's all over 5 times negative 4. Okay. So you have 2 times 3 or 3 squared. You should be doing 3 squared next. So you're going to have 2 times 9 and 5 times negative 4. So remember, keep these parentheses in here because you need to separate 2 from 3 squared. You need something to separate those. All right, 2 times 9 is 18. And this is pretty easy, so I'm going to go ahead and multiply. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. And then the last thing you need to do is to reduce your fraction. So that's going to be the same thing as 9 over negative 10. All right, next problem. So we're going to I have to remember what these values are. All right, so instead of B, we're going to have 9 squared minus 2 negative 4 squared over 12 plus negative 4 minus 9. So you can go ahead and work through this problem. I'm not going to talk through it. I'm just going to do it, and you can check your steps with mine and see if we agree. All right, good luck. So my final answer was negative 49. Just don't be confused by the negatives. You just go with them one at a time. Make sure when you square negative 4. Oh my gosh. All right, I apologize for that. They keep making the same announcement over and over. All right, 7, that should be easy. So C is going to be equal to negative 4. So negative 4 squared is going to be positive 16. Anytime you have an even exponent, whether the number is positive or negative, it's going to be a positive outcome. So that's just something we need to know. Number 8, so we're going to be very careful about this. This negative is not relative to this negative 4. It's its own thing, so you have to copy it down. And instead of C, now you put in negative 4. So what you're going to do first is you're going to cube negative 4. This guy right here is just coming along for the ride. I can't just drop it, right? It's a operation, so it has to be in the problem. And negative 4 to the third is going to be a negative number. It's going to be negative 64. So you can't get confused by these negatives, okay? They just come along for the ride, and you just evaluate and you keep them as you go along. So what happens is, technically, you would have parentheses around negative 64, and you can read this as a negative. There's really a 1 here. So if you multiply negative 1 times negative 64, you're going to get positive 64. So just be careful about that.